Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Spartacus, and I know that it's been a while. I know that I've been off schedule with posting these videos, but I really wanted to get a good video for you. I've been working on this one a lot. It actually was mostly just mentally thinking of how I'm going to rank these movies. But if you saw the thumbnail and if you saw the title for this video, you know that we are going to be ranking every Spider-Man movie. And like you see in this picture here, it's going to be the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland movies. And only those three. I'm not going to be including Venom or Japanese Spider-Man, any of the other ones that aren't as well known as these three are. And so obviously Spider-Man appears, the Tom Holland Spider-Man appears in other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, but I'm only going to be including the ones that are specifically about him. So let's start. So to start, my least favorite one is Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. Now, the thing that I have a problem against this one is, well, let's start with me saying I like almost every Spider-Man movie. This is the only Spider-Man movie I don't like. And so uh, the main problem I have with this one is just the storyline. There isn't a great storyline. The villain is just mediocre. I gotta say, Doc Ock, it might be one of my least favorite Marvel villains ever. However, it was cool to see him in Spider-Man No Way Home. But I still think that he was just a very mediocre villain. And obviously, this movie has the iconic train scene, like you see here in this picture. Um, but other than that, there's just nothing really memorable about this movie. Obviously, the whole train car sees his face, and it's like a huge scene. And I know that this movie has like a cult following now, but I just don't really like this movie. I think the storyline in the plot and the plot are just very basic and not very Marvel, not as good as the other ones that we see in this series. All right, the second worst one I have on my list, and from here on, all of these movies are really, in my opinion, really good. However, this one was just at the bottom of the list. So, and it was really because there was no action in it, and this movie was Spider-Man: Homecoming, and there was really just no action in it. There was the scene on the ferry boat. There were some intense scenes, but he wasn't like fighting anybody. Really, I think it's cool that he gets to like figure out his new suit, and it shows how he's like in high school. And one thing that I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe does very well on is making all of the Marvel movies seem like a history, seem like a timeline that's happening in this world that's just like the time is moving forward, and how it seems like it could be an actual history. And so I like how they make Spider-Man's life very realistic in the high school setting, but at the same time, he's a superhero, and I want to see superhero stuff. I don't want to see, high school movies. And so I really think that that was just my biggest problem with this movie. Obviously, like I said, I really enjoy this movie. I like seeing Iron Man in it. The Vulture is, in my opinion, a great villain. I especially like that the main villain is the father of the love interest in the movie. I think that makes a very great plot twist per se. Um, but I mean, even the most iconic picture from this movie is him in his school jacket. And so I feel like it was just more a high school movie than it was a superhero movie. The next one I have is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 1. And I think that this is a great story. I think that it's a great plot. I think there's a great villain. Obviously, one of the best villains in Spider-Man. And I think that this might be Tobey Maguire's best acting in this movie, even though it just was Tobey Maguire, so it's not great. But I do think that this was a very good movie, especially with the storyline. The only thing I have against it is that it was just too slow to start with. And I'm fine with movies being slow then fast and slow then fast, but it's really just it's slow, slow, and then at the very end it's very fast. And I just don't understand that. I don't really like it. The next movie I have is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3. And I love this movie. This is my favorite of the Tobey Maguire movies. But I just think that it's a little more boring than the rest of the movies we're going to talk about. Now, obviously, it's a great movie. I like how fast paced it is. I like how the villains are just awesome. I like how they made Sandman into this kind of flip flop character. And so I think this was a very good movie. I just think that it was a little more boring than the others. And you can't really explain how it's boring unless you see the movie and you see like Tobey Maguire being high on the streets and just the scenes of him like being in love, and I don't need to see all that. I want to see a superhero movie. But I do like how they have the most of the storyline is just like Tobey Maguire's life, but then on top of that they layer the superhero thing, which I think that Spider-Man Homecoming fails to do. And so I think that that was very cool how, like I said with Spider-Man Homecoming, it's not great that they make it only about high school, but they make it about him as a superhero as well, and I thought that was very cool. The next one on my list is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, this is the first Andrew Garfield one on my list, and I don't know. I really enjoy this movie. I think that it makes you feel all the feels, but I don't know what I have against this movie. It has a great villain, it has a great storyline, great plot twist, but at the same time, there's just something missing from it. There's this aspect of the joy in being a hero that Spider-Man always has. He had it in the first movie with Andrew Garfield, and Spider-Man has this joy of being a hero in every other Spider-Man film. And I feel like in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it just kind of lacks that joy, and it becomes more of a burden for him. And now he does have quippy one-liners that I think are great. Obviously, it's Spider-Man, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's just he's not happy being a superhero, and I think that that's just kind of hard to watch. The next one is Spider-Man Far From Home, and I thought this was a great movie. I loved the storyline, the plot twist when they were in the bar and Mysterio was revealing everything. That's one of my favorite scenes in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so honestly, it just got pushed back because the other movies were just so great. That's the only reason it's so far down. I thought it would be higher up on my list, but the other movies are just so great, and that's the only reason why it got pushed back. The next one is The Amazing Spider-Man 1 from Andrew Garfield. And I love this movie. I think that it has a great storyline. It has a great villain. Obviously, it takes a while for the villain to really be seen, but I think that this is by far the second best, at least the second best Spider-Man movie. And Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man, so I obviously have some bias for this movie. But I think he's the best Spider-Man because number one, he's the best actor, but number two, he has the best movies. And obviously, you see both of his movies were in the top four, and obviously, you know what the next one is already if you've been keeping track, which he's in. But I just think that it's such a great movie, especially the storyline. I think is just amazing. Obviously, they didn't come up with it from scratch, but it's a great storyline and it's great delivery. like the Tobey Maguire movies, I have problems with those because they could have great storylines, but the delivery is just not where it needs to be. And so I really like that with this Andrew Garfield movie. My favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man No Way Home. And I'm sure that this is every Spider-Man fanatic's favorite movie. It incorporates all three of the Spider-Men? Is that what's called? Spider-Peoples? Spider-Men's? I don't know. But anyways, I think that this is the best Spider-Man movie. I think it's the most entertaining, and it's one of those where everything is happening. You never want to look away. Whereas some of the others further down in the list, like Homecoming, Spider-Man 2, those you can like get up to get a snack, go to the bathroom. But for this one, you just don't even want to blink because when you blink, something could happen. And that's just why I love it so much. That's why I love Survivor. Obviously, if you know my channel, you know I love Survivor. But that's why I love this movie so much. Everything's happening. Plus, you've got all three, and that's just amazing. I love the part when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield came into Ned's house. I thought that was very cool, especially like funny. I think that Andrew Garfield is a very funny Spider-Man, except for in Spider-Man 2, but oh well. But I think that like just seeing him with those characters was very, very entertaining. So there you have it. That's my ranking for all of the Spider-Man movies. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Did you know that over 75% of the people watching these videos and these podcasts are not subscribed? I don't understand that. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, or if you're into Survivor, that's what most of my videos are about. And thanks for watching. See you later.